I'd like to say good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us here today. This is Clergy for Prison Reform. Some of our friends, organization founded by Dr. Reverend C.J. Rose. I am Wesley Bridges, the CEO. We are here today to share with you in real time some of the things that are going on with our legislators, some of the things that we hope to happen. We're still prayerful. The Bible tells us that we may be cast down, but we're not destroyed. So we're still hopeful that out of this session, some fruitful things will come forth that will address our criminal justice reform issues, our prison issues, and all of the underlying issues. Today we're going to have, speak to you briefly, we have Justice Collaborative Will Harrell. We have Reverend Dr. Anthony Witherspoon, Mayor of Magnolia, Mississippi. And we have Evangelist Pauline Rogers of Clergy for Prison Reform and the Reach Foundation. Thank you.
Yes, I'll go first. Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Witherspoon. I'm Mayor of the City of Magnolia, Mississippi, and I am formerly incarcerated. I come today to join in support with Clergy for Prison Reform and the efforts to formulate an agenda that's progressive, that reduces the overcrowding that we currently see in our prison system in Mississippi. We fully support the legislative agenda that was rolled out by Senator Turner Ford and the Mississippi Legislative Black Caucus, and their efforts to reduce recidivism, and those bills that are sponsored by Senator Juan Barnett, Senate Bill 2123, that also speaks to those efforts to reduce recidivism. These, however, are small steps in the right direction. Being one who's formerly incarcerated and the mayor of a city, who's running a city, I can speak to the fact that rehabilitation is support is needed from the legislature. I would love to see this legislature take steps like the state of North Carolina in passing a certificate of rehabilitation bill where one can come out after having paid their debt to society, prove their rehabilitation, and have full restoration of rights. This country was founded on the principle of no taxation without representation. And if we can take individuals who have successfully completed all their terms of their sentence and support their efforts in becoming law-abiding, tax-paying citizens of our state, then we should remove the barriers that prohibit that success to happen. So again, I want to thank Dr. Bridges and Dr. Rose and all the work that's been done by the Clergy for Prison Reform, and know that I, Mayor of the City of Magnolia, stand in solidarity with your efforts. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Pauline Rogers with Clergy for Prison Reform and the founder of the Reaching and Educating for Community Hope Foundation. And I'm also formerly incarcerated. And I've been doing this work for 30-something years, and here we are again. One thing I haven't lost is my hope. But I wish that I had a letter from an inmate from a couple of days ago who's incarcerated at Parchment and has been there for 37 years. And although many people have died and we got national attention, yet in his letter, he voices no hope whatsoever, even in this situation with the amount of attention that has been brought to it. And to a degree and to a level, I understand that and I feel his pain. I'm 30-something years in the game, 5 transitional homes later, 27-acre re-entry campus later, and I still feel like sometimes myself, every single day, I'm facing 12 jurors. And you have to go through each single juror before you can be acquitted or exonerated or found not guilty. I thank the legislators, the governor, for what you are doing. I would say that what we intend to do, we need to speed up the pace. And to my brothers and sisters that are incarcerated, I send you love, hugs, and greetings. The Lord forgave me, and He will also forgive you. And the thing that I will compel each of you to do behind those bars is live together. Get to a place of union as much as you can. Even in the midst of where you feel there is no hope. Know that we stand here, and the people you see standing behind me, we don't stand here because we don't have hope. We have hope, and we stand here fighting and believing and trusting that we will get a resolution. And I would ask the legislators if you would go back and revisit House Bill 585 and at least take it back to the place of 1994. And I would also ask that you would pass Senate Bill 2123. Thank you. We believe in you. Keep safe. Keep the peace as much as possible that's in your power to do. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Will Harrell. I'm a civil rights attorney. I'm the director of the Justice Collaborative. It's a criminal justice reform consultancy operation based out of New Orleans, Louisiana. I work in every state that borders the Gulf of Mexico. I've been part of the CPR family since its inception in 2014 and 2015. I want to pick up where Pauline left off, which is that, as you all know, in 2016, House Bill 265 was passed, and that was a good start, but the fruits of that tree bear no more. The state of Louisiana has to pick up the pace and address hurt issues. I had the horrific experience just a moment ago of witnessing a Senate committee hearing in which one of the representatives of the Department of Corrections stood up and bestowed the virtues of their horticulture program, and I sat there thinking, people are being stabbed to death in these prisons here in Mississippi, and we're listening to the virtues of a horticulture program. It demonstrated to me the disconnect of this agency with the population, and further convinced me that what the state of Mississippi needs to do is create an entity that has the authority to oversight, the authority to independently review the conditions of confinement in which people live. We send supposedly people to prison for corrections, but if you send somebody to these facilities that thankfully the media has brought to bear, witness to bear, how can you expect them to come out as a rehabilitated person for the better? When you have to think of every day whether or not you will survive, that is not conducive to reconciling yourself, putting yourself on the right path, gaining some skills, and moving forward. Simply, no prison system should operate behind closed walls. The prison system Department of Corrections has demonstrated repeatedly they will not release accurate information about conditions and the rehabilitation programming that they offer. The Department of Corrections is simply not in a position to hire enough security officers to keep the prisons safe. It is just not possible. So two options: raise taxes, hire officers, raise taxes, and pay your officers better, or take a hard look at who's currently filling those beds. Today, the Department of Corrections acknowledged that there are 400 people sitting in our prisons who are eligible for release, yet are not being released because they don't have a home to go to. That is a problem that could be addressed very simply. So I urge the media to continue your attention, raising the public awareness to the problems that are suffering in our prisons. I urge the legislature to be bold and to take on the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you. You've heard from Justice Collaborative. You've heard from two formerly incarcerated persons who are very successful and still very near and dear to this work. Behind me is a melting pot of people, coalitions, and impacted persons and people who have a heart for this work, have a passion to see some of these things come to pass. The Bible tells us to remember prisoners as if we ourselves were in prison. So we thank you all for covering this press conference. We'll be glad to answer any questions on or off camera. We appreciate your diligence in this work, and thank you all for coming out today.